Well, hello, everybody. I got to see sometimes I'm ahead on this and sometimes I'm not. You all know how that goes. So, anyway, good to see everyone. Thank you for tuning in. It is a fabulous day here in the neighborhood. And as I go there and I check there, everything is like really cool. So, all is good in the world as I continue to hit that button, and I guess eventually we are live, right? That's what it says. It says connection is excellent. So I kind of consider that to be a cool thing. Technology, man, jacks with you. Yeah, you think you think you got it, and you figure out that I ain't got it at all. So you gotta laugh, I'll tell you. Hope you enjoyed the tune selection for the day. It was some rather choice tidbits. Really do love the music. I have said this before and I'll say it again. I came in specifically because of rock and roll. Well, classical too, but music. Uh, and speaking of music, which is a beautiful thing, speaking favor over us all. Favor is cool. It's grace. Nothing wrong with that. Um, true encounter on this was going to the store and got like every parking lot has this choice parking space, right? It's like perfect to the door. You got no fear of someone banging, your door. So I pulled into the spot. There it was, just sitting empty with other spaces all full. So as I pull in there, there's a couple next to me and they're putting their stuff into their car. And she says, wow. She says, are you like really lucky, right? The best spot. And I said, no, I said, really, what I have is favor. So if you're going to talk it, walk it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And nothing missing, nothing broken. How about that, Jackie? Hello, everybody in the chat room. How is it? I love the rhetorical questions. Well, you'll get plenty of them here then. Say hi to Shirley and Gilbert, and I saw Lauren was in there. She had a call. Grace, good to see Favor, Grace. Grace, have you seen Favor in your life, most of your life? Yeah, it's like your name is right there. Rick, what's up, brother? Lori, hello, Lost in Space. Good to see y'all. Chloe, good to see you. Jackie, nothing missing, nothing broken, darling. And the doctor is in the house. And Lucky, how are you doing? Thank you, sir. Orjuan, good to see you. Thank you. Goddess Sabina Bernadette, how are you, my dear? Joyce, Nina, good to see you, darling. Susie Q, good to see you. Disobey and I think voiceover. Stephanie Marie, how are you? Uh, all right. I think I got everything. Gemini Ascension, how are you doing? So, I love this topic. I really do. I mean, it's one that, the censors, yeah, every video is censored here. And the new God, Google. Google is the new God. I mean, you can reject it, doesn't really fucking matter. Google is the new God. And you could tie it, because gods all make deals in the back rooms, so, but Google is the consciousness of humanity. Now, it may not be our consciousness, but for the vast majority of people, that's where their knowledge is. It's Google. Kids today are not learning. They're cheating. They're cheating themselves. And sadly, the teachers of this country are cheating these children because, you've replaced common sense. And now everyone can use AI. I mean, think about the damage that's going to cause in a couple of generations. Just saying. But anyway, the whole thing with media, news media. Now, you're probably like now there was a time where I was baptized in that shit. I mean, Fox News on 24/7. And if it wasn't Fox News, it was TBN. I mean, it was always in the background. Now, my naive ass never really figured it out until much later is that, holy crap, I'm being programmed. There ain't no fucking truth on any of these news stations. But anyway, that was my life. And so you have this constant indoctrination. And, as a kid, we only had three news stations. It was NBC, CBS, and ABC. And so they had a whole monopoly. They cornered the market. And it's amazing how we've been manipulated by television. And then, of course, when the new God came in and took its seat, then that began to expand. And you had this thing called cable. I was very much involved in those early days. And Ted Turner, I've had the opportunity to sit next to Ted Turner right back in the day when Atlanta was in the World Series. Yeah. And Jane was sitting right next to him and got these tickets from a vendor. It's just one of those things. But anyway, so Ted comes along and says, what the world needs is, and this is the word they used, new programming. And so the advent of 24/7, 365 news came about. And it changed everything. Changed us, changed society. I mean, and today you can see how it has evolved into now where you have, the competing philosophies. You've got the far left, which is, the radical MSNBC, and then CNN, which they don't know what the hell they use. CNN, it stands for, the Clown News Network, or actually you could say the Clinton News Network. But anyway, and then of course you had Fox. Now Fox was the, the bearer of justice and truth and the American way. And by God, they were all about God and country. That's what Fox News is about, and which is a goddamn lie. The fact of the matter is, all of these organizations, if you take the definition of society in our modern Western culture, what is a lie? It's the opposite of the truth. Well, you combine that with religion, Christianity, which permeates everything. Now, Christianity will teach you that if you lie, you are an agent of Satan. You promote a lie, and particularly if you do it on purpose, God hates you. Jesus doesn't want to see your sorry ass. You're a goddamn liar, and you push a fucking lie. Makes you a Satanist, regardless of whether you want to agree with it or not. So they're all the same. They all push an agenda. A false agenda, may I say. And here's the thing, I'd love to throw this in for the censors. So who's the arbitrator of truth? What? Is it ABC News and George Stephanopoulos? Excuse me. Almost got choked up on that one. Or is it the lunatics at over MSNBC? Morning Joe, Micah. I mean, those people freak me out. I was in the doctor's office yesterday, I had to follow up, and they had MSNBC on there. I mean, I could only take about 3 minutes, and so I got up and I said, "Do we have to watch that?" And then this receptionist says, "Well, we watch it all the time." And so I convinced her that, could we find something a little less, on the extreme? And so she goes over and puts it on CNN. And I'm sitting there going, what the freak? And this control, it's powerful magic. It's spell casting. That's what news is spell casting. Because again, who's the arbitrator of the truth? Is it the United States government? Give me a break. Our fucking government promotes propaganda. You know, it was against the law after World War II. We saw what happened to Germany, saw what happened to Japan. So they made it illegal. If you were associated with the government, you could not be involved in any type of propaganda, because if it was found out to be propaganda, your ass is going to jail. But that changed with Obama. Barry, I should say. And, you know, which then brings into this whole thing of the politics. Today, the news programming, the Satanists, they are Satanists. I'm sure these board of directors may not give verbal homage to Satan, but they're worshiping the image and the idea of Satan. Because let's be candid here. Satan and Lucifer don't really exist. We made them up. If they're anything in Christian mythology, they would be egregores. We created them. That's how we do all the gods. None of them actually exist, but they're real. We make them real. And so you've had 2,000 years of the Roman indoctrination, living in reincarnated form through Western culture, that, you know, and you can't have a God, a good God, unless there's an antithesis. Otherwise, God has nothing to do. But if he's got an enemy, well, then that makes it all the more spicy. And so today, it's just like the drug commercials. The United States is the only country that allows the pharmaceutical, whatever you want to call them, to push on an ignorant society where the average IQ is now less than 100, and they're pushing these drugs. Yeah. In fact, it's gotten so bad, if you took the pharmaceutical companies out and made it illegal, as it was before Clinton, half of the ad revenue would collapse. And now the television has become so addicted to the money. You know, you look at these drug commercials, they spend millions of dollars, and their drugs are dangerous. Read about the side effects. That's not me. That's just what you read it there. You know, may cause death. Oh, like some logical person's going to say, yeah, sign me up for that. Yeah. I mean, what the fuck? You know, they talk about gambling. I'd rather gamble on the lottery, a slot machine, a roulette, than to gamble my fucking life on the fact that it may cause death. Who would do that? But no, that's what we do. So now you've got these organizations that push this agenda. Again, who's the arbitrator of truth here? It's not our government. It's not the politician. You look at political ads. Every political ad is a fucking lie. They are promoting Satan. Because again, the Jesus said, Satan, you're the father of all lies. So if you deliberately lie, then you're acknowledging you're a Satanist. Now, I'm sure the censors are going fucking crazy, you know. It's like, well, he hasn't violated anything, but you can't be saying this. Yeah. Who's the arbitrator of truth? So we have this thing today, and there is a distinct difference between Satanism and Luciferianism. If anything, if you had to identify with a philosophy, I would identify as a Luciferian. And to be honest, most of you would as well. Now, not stepping on anyone's toes. Believe whatever you want to believe. That's cool. That's what it's all about. But When you're dealing in this environment of news media 24/7, each promoting, they say, is the truth, but they lie, then are they not Satanists? These talking heads, are they not willing participants in Satanism? I mean, Fox News is as bad as MSNBC. I mean, it's the same coin. And many times, not even the different frickin' side. It's the same side. But if you look at it, there is a distinct difference between the two. I, again, would identify with being more Luciferian in my philosophy. And I had a couple of articles I want to show. And this one here, this is ranker.com. Good site, by the way, if you really are into the occult and like to get a wide perspective on the topic. It says Luciferians and Satanists aren't one and the same. And it goes on to say, for most people, different sects of devil worshippers. You see, NBC is a devil worshiping organization, just as Fox News is, just as MSNBC is, CNN. They all are devil worshiping organizations. Now, they'll adamantly say, oh, no. We tried to give a fair and oh, that's Fox. That's right. You know, you see, it's all one the same. But it goes on to say, appear to be interchangeable. All support Satan, Lucifer, and all things dark-sided. The news is dark. You know why they don't have good news? Because it's boring. We don't get excited, worked up if it's all good news. No, we got to have the controversy. We got to have, divide the house. Remember what Solomon said, if he ever lived. A house divided against itself cannot stand. It's the same thing. And this is what you got with the modern day news media. It's designed to divide you. It says, if Satan and Lucifer are the same entity, how could there be a difference between Satanists and Luciferians? Aren't they the same thing? Do you understand these two? And by the way, if you identify Fox News as they do as being Christian, they're the same as the Satanist. It's all the same thing. They just like to make the illusion that it's different. It says to understand these two distinct occult affiliate religious groups. Christianity is an occult. It is. You've got over 30,000 schisms in Christianity. That's a cult. And I'll guarantee you, hear me out, they all ain't worshiping the same Jesus. No, sir. No, ma'am. It ain't the same Jesus. But they'll tell you it is. Somebody lying. Anyway, it says, you ironically must seek out the Old Testament. There is that book again. We're going to talk about this until, when we all go wherever we're going to go, because it's a spell book. But anyway, it says, though Satanism and its derivatives exist in direct response to Christianity. Again, if Christianity didn't have Satan, there would be no Christianity. None. It would be paganism, the way it's supposed to be. Think about how many corrupt Satanists that are in Congress, in the Senate, in judges' positions. Oh, they'll tell you that they're morally, which is debatable, that no, but they're all Satanist. They lie. They've sold their souls for 30 pieces of silver. But anyway, it says, there is shockingly little mention of the devil, hear me out on this, in the Bible itself, leaving room for interpretation as to what it looked like, what its motives were, and what its true name was. Isn't that odd? We really don't know the name of God. They say it's unspeakable. In fact, they said that when the children of Israel went into captivity, when they left Babylon, they were completely reorientated, reindoctrinated. That's the whole thing about if you read the story, even when, the 12 brothers went down into Egypt. You're down there for 500 years. You ain't going to be no goddamn, Jewish person. You're going to be Egyptian. Now, you may have your own beliefs, but guarantee you this, you can't get in the pool, and if someone pisses in it, guess what? You got piss on you. It's just the way it works. I don't care if you say you're on this end of the pool and they pissed on that end of the pool, you still got piss on you. And that's how it is. It says the ongoing issue surrounding the origins of Satan and Lucifer, and again, I have done enough fucking studies on this channel alone to show, and everyone knows this, Lucifer is a made up name. I really wish the cat or the gal would actually exist, because as I've said before, that would be one far out conversation. I mean, wow. But anyway, and again, we know Jerome made this character up. Because Lucifer and Satan and the devil, they're not even related. This is the Hatfield and McCoys all over again. Has been a sensitive theological topic for many centuries, and the hotly contested subject took on a new practical application over the last 1,000 years of the Old Testament, was first penned. Esoteric groups begin identifying with the devil in all of its forms: Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, Lilith, and Lucifer. Lilith, this pisses her off. I don't blame her. If any of these characters exist, I would say it was more Lilith than all the rest of them. But that's just my opinion. Just to name a few, the numerous passages in the Old Testament depict the fall of the angel Lucifer. The problem is, it did not exist. But anyway, we've bought the story. We've created the egregores, and they must have our concentration. They are truly the succubuses of our energy. In early depictions, Lucifer is not shown to be an evil horned creature, but rather a normal angel. In the Latin Vulgate, which is a great question. I wish I had this question when I used to visit bars, because I'd never have to buy a drink ever. Challenge anyone in there and say, what was the first Bible? 99.9 will not know what the Vulgate is. But anyway, I digress on that. In the Vulgate, a 4th century translation of the Hebrew Bible, Isaiah 14 calls him Lucifer, and we know where that came from. That was Jerome, where he mixed 2 Greek and Latin words to create Lucifer. What an asshole. That's all I got to say. That's the same asshole, by the way, that foraged, the, I'll think of it a second. Anyway, boy, that just went right out the window. But let's continue. In Isaiah 14, they call him Lucifer, which translates to light, bearer of light. This may seem like a positive connotation, but in Luke, Jesus claims to have watched Satan fall from heaven like a flash of lightning. The problem in here is, would not those who wrote the New Testament, who were apparently so well schooled in the old Greek language that doesn't exist, it's a dead language, why wouldn't they not have called it Lucifer? Well, may have been because Lucifer didn't come into the scene for another 400 years in the future. So Jesus said it was this Satan character, like a flash of lightning. Though the widespread circulation of this well-known translation, the angelic bearer of light, turned on to a devil. Well, you get back to that question then. How did imperfection come from perfection? But anyway, love the idea of Lucifer, light bearer. bringer of knowledge and wisdom. I mean, where's the downside on that? It says the microcosm of Satan versus Lucifer debate continues on a small, vacacious world of those who worship Satan, Lucifer, or both. Well, you're just then a worshiping whore. That's all you are. If you can't figure out why are you worshiping anything anyway? I mean, why would a God want worshipers? I have to use William Shatner's famous line in Star Trek Undiscovered Country. Why would God need a starship? Why would God want worshipers? What a pain in the ass. Anyway, I digress. Much like Lucifer and Satan were once separate entities, Luciferian and Satanism are distinctly different schools of thought. Their core belief systems embody the nature of a fallen angel and a creature of chaos, respectively. So, what do Luciferians believe? Contrary to popular belief, most Luciferians do not view their belief system as a religion, but rather as a psychological and subconscious approach to seek the embodied Lucifer traits. Now, my question is Lucifer really male? Because if Lucifer really is God's enemy, then Lucifer would be female. I've said that the God of the Bible is more homosexual than what he would be heterosexual. I mean, just read the story. There ain't no freaking women around. Not around his throne, not in his council. Think about that. And as one anthropologist, I was watching this documentary, the natural state of nature is homosexuality. That is the natural state. But that's not this discussion for right now, but just throwing it out there. It says, despite their insistence upon recognizing the distinction between Lucifer and the devil, many believe that Lucifer and Satan are two sides of the same coin. Lucifer represents focus and enlightenment, while Satan represents carnality and material goods. In Luciferian texts, the term Lucifer is interchangeable with bringer of light, which describes the shift between the morning and evening stars. The central idea is duality, how darkness and light can coexist within a single being. Ta-da! It's really what it is. You know, when I was in Christianity in the cult of, name it and claim it, because that shit really works. And in particular, you get into the ministry for the the payoff, because God will make you rich. What, you did not read that in the book of Psalms? Didn't read that in Proverbs? What about Malachi? You didn't read that? Yeah. I mean, you make a deal with him, he will make you rich. Why? Because he tells you he owns all the gold and all the silver. I mean, you look at like Kenneth Copeland, the first Christian minister, evangelist, whatever you want to call it, to be a billionaire. And you've got ministries now that don't have one jet, they don't have two jets. In most cases, they've got maybe 3 or 4 jets. Because Jesus don't like riding economy. But that's the deal. I often thought it was odd that when, I had heard people saying, well, they just made a deal with the devil to become rich. Well, you can make the same deal with God and get rich too. I mean, God of the Bible. I still don't know who the Christian God is, but, in this case, we're going with the Old Testament. So money was all about the deal. I mean, if you're going to sell your soul, you would probably want to sell it to, the New Testament God. I mean, he says he's got all the cash, says he owns all the oil. And the thing about it is as well, in business, I've been screwed over by Christians more. In fact, I can't tell you a true Luciferian I met, except for one I suspect. But I never had a Satanist stab me in the back. Never had a Luciferian lie to me. deceive me, set this thing up. I mean, you know, but they got the banner and the blood of Jesus. But the point is, it's duality. Christianity is about as much carnality as about spirituality. It's true. Well, read what Solomon wrote. But anyway, I digress. It says, while Luciferianism is not explicitly religious, its adherents may be theistic or atheistic. Anyone who is willing to aspire towards the goal of self-transformation and betterment is welcome to practice it. This practice can take many forms. It can be as simple as a style of decision-making, the daily discipline, or it can manifest more literally in the form of magical ritual. Unlike most strictly theistic religions, there is no incentive to convert others to Luciferianism. Aside from the scattered organizations that practice together, many people prefer to live their private lives in a Luciferian fashion rather than convince other people to join them. There's the litmus test. Satan and Lucifer's never asked me for a dime. Never asked me for my soul. Never asked me to pray to it. No. Never wanted to berate me, to beat me down, to make me feel guilty, somehow to make me feel unworthy, like I can't approach God on my own because I need an intermediary. Never gotten that from Lucifer. Never gotten it really from Satan. And the ridiculous of what you see in modern Hollywood as to what demons are, the reason why that shit manifests is that because that's what we do. We create this shit. We're that powerful. And I have to say that Lucifer is, as I've said before, in fact, I can say this. I have more respect for Lucifer than I have for any Jesus. Because Jesus, if you follow the story, says his father is this Old Testament prick, God, who's angry, jealous, vengeful, full of wrath. Lucifer's never shown me that. Never seen that. Never even seen it with Satan. I had a dream where this question of this being came in, and I was dreaming about souls. And the question was asked to me, why would a God want to collect souls? I mean, if that's a purpose, okay. Well, what do you do with them afterwards? It'd be a royal pain in the ass, wouldn't it? I mean, that's what I don't get about this whole God, Jesus, Lucifer, Satan, devil. Humans are a pain in the ass. And why any God would want to interfere or intermingle with us is beyond my reasonable understanding. Because humans are fucking batshit crazy. Look at the politicians we have today. We've got a Democratic candidate that is totally made up. Totally fucking made up. She has no background other than the fact that she was caught, and this was in the San Francisco Chronicle, giving the former mayor, Willie Brown, a head job. And she never passed the bar, never had anything accomplished. And what I don't understand is that in the last 16 years, the Democrats have been in power for 12. The other side, 4. But yet the Democrats who created all this stuff, they're telling us now that they're going to, fix it? Well, why didn't you fix it for the last 12 years? You had the opportunity. And so you've got a person who is completely inept, so fake. I mean, back in the days as a hippie, we would call her very plastic because there's nothing behind it. And then you look at the running mate that she has, a guy who stole valor, lie. His brother is about to come out and spill the beans. And what the hell's wrong with you people in Minnesota? Seriously, don't you know what character is? And what about you folks in Kentucky? What kind of an asshole governor do you have that a governor would say to his political opponent, I hope your wife is raped and your little girl too? That's fucked up, folks. At the convention, Barack Barry was making a joke, a sick one, comparing something about Donald Trump's penis. Barry, you should, of all people, should not be talking about another man's penis. Your wife's got one bigger than you do. So what the hell? And then you got the fair hair boy who, they tried to take him out. And so now they've elevated him to a demigod status. And listen, I look back and, the 4 years that character was in, all right, so there were certain things good, but then again, he wasn't fucking smart enough to realize he had traitors all around him. Now, if you're not that fucking bright to figure it out, and then you put people in positions that you don't know and end up stabbing you in the back, how fucking smart is that? But that's what they give us. That's why the two-party system in the United States is broken and should be abolished. But anyway, so now we've got all of this combined. Because again, the news media, look at what the news media told us. They told us for the last 8 months that Joe Biden was cognitively 100% on the ball. Liar, liar, liar. And if you follow it, and it's all of them, there's no exemptions in here. Fox News is just as bad as CNN, and NBC, ABC, CBS, they all have this agenda. But what's really odd is like it's reading a different interpretation, but it's the same marching orders. So the question becomes, if they're all promoting lies, distortions, deceptions, who is telling the truth? Again, who is the arbitrator of truth here? And so one has to step back and say, now, wait a minute. This all seems to be well coordinated. It seems like there is deliberate manipulation taking place. So if there is this evil entity, Satan, and if Satan, I can't figure out why Satan would be a Democrat and Jesus would be a Republican. And Lucifer says, hey, y'all are all batshit crazy. I don't want any of you. Gotta like this Lucifer. He, she, however. But then again, you've got this good and evil. So if the evil is these stations that are propagating a lie, a deception, pushing propaganda, who do they worship? Are they worshiping Satan? Are they devil worshipers? Hey, the board of directors at CBS, are you worshiping the devil? These talking heads, the one promoting these lies, are they Satanist? Wow. I know many of them that will claim that they worship God. Which God? You see them wear their crosses, trying to say that I am better than you. I'm more righteous than you because I serve the one true God, Jesus Christ. Well, you better read your fucking Bible again because he never called himself a fucking God. In fact, he said not to worship him. But look what's happened. So are they the bad guys? Is the distortion that's being promoted here, are they in league with one another Do they worship this unseen entity that wants domination over the human soul, the human consciousness? Is this the purpose for NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, MSNBC, CNN? Are they really there to steal our souls, to basically capture our minds and our thoughts? Because, if you speak against them, then you become their enemy. Yeah, hot topic. And, we, for the most, I've read the article and I see your comments all in there that, I don't watch television. That's cool. I completely get that. But if you're also ignorant of the events, then you've got no bitch about the outcome. That's just the bottom line. At some point in time, you have to take personal responsibility for the fact, no matter where you live in this world, if you just ignore that which is the ruling power, I would say that there would be good reason to ask, then what's your purpose? So what's going on here? Do we have organizations that are really more Luciferian? Now, I don't know who those are, because I don't see any Luciferian traits being exhibited in any of these news outlets. And the newspapers are just the same. Radio, you got a guy like George Soros, now his son, they want to buy up all these media companies to promote a single thought. That ain't going to work, Jack. That's the problem I have with Kamala Harris is that, she's a Marxist. She's a communist. Now, I'm diametrically opposed to that philosophy. Socialism doesn't work. Now, I'm a hippie. Always will be. I was a radical back then. I'm a radical now. Because I got to tell you, I don't like you Democrats. You lie. And you Republicans, you're just as big a liars. In fact, I can tell you the vast majority of us, we're sick of both of you. We don't want to see your goddamn political ads as flooding. Why would someone spend $50 million on a 6-year position that pays $184,000 a year? Where the hell's the ROI? They've sold themselves out. But to whom? To what? Who is the purpose of these news stations, these news outlets, just to merely make our minds so malleable that we begin to follow anything? Now, I contend that if they may be devil orientated, they may in fact satanic cults, as I said, but I doubt if they're actually Luciferian. Yeah. Let's continue on this. Anyone who is willing to aspire towards the goal of self-transformation and betterment is welcome to practice this. This practice can take many forms, as I said. It can be a simple style of decision-making, daily discipline. I used to work at the gym all the time, and I loved it because it was an opportunity for me to think. And I noticed that people who are more disciplined in nature tend to be more successful. I mean, this is what I experienced. And there's nothing wrong if you follow more of a bohemian approach, live and let live, and what far out. I find it interesting about Jack Dorsey, started Twitter. Jack, get this, folks. Jack has given up on the business. He is on the vision quest of spirituality. I wish Zuckerberg would be like that. These men, young men that had a great opportunity, and all they did to spend it on carnality. So I guess they're Satanists. I guess Zuckerberg worships Satan because by his actions, it would appear that that's good. He appears not to subscribe to anything of Jesus Christ. But then again, most of Jesus Christ followers are just like the Satan followers. There really isn't much difference. The focus on the present day is one of the key tenets of Luciferianism. Those who practice it do not subscribe to the concepts of good or evil, nor do they believe in heaven or hell. Aspiring towards one's best self is always the goal, and there is no punishment for a bad day, or darkness empowers light, and light establishes growth and renewal. Hollywood is not Luciferian, because it just blows that whole freaking genre out. I mean, it's funny. I watch some of these movies because I love film. It has always been a passion of mine. I was in the industry for well over 2 decades, and I enjoyed it. And I just laugh when I see these shows like The Conjuring, or, these other ones where they're showing these demons and, oh, they're out there to kill you. And, what a bunch of bullshit. But it to me, is like watching a comedy skit. I said, how ridiculous can it get? So what do Satanists believe? Because Satanists really is the carnality. I mean, Congress is ruled by Satanists. Just look at the actions. To quote that wise guy again, you can judge a person by the fruit they bear. Their words. It says, while there are many different groups that describe themselves as Satanists, the most prominent is the Church of Satan. Now, I do belong to the church, the Temple of Satan. Why do I do that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because how do I know that you're my enemy if all I'm going to do is to believe what someone else said about you? If I get to know you, I may very well discover that we have more in commonality than we do in differences. That's the problem when you buy into a political ideology or religious. It's very dangerous. In fact, I got my card, and it is the Satanic Temple, not the Church of Satan. This one, founded by Anton LaVey. We've covered his books. The Church of Satan practices atheism, Satanism, which is typically described as LaVeyism, Satanism. I mean, Anton just invented a new religion. And there were enough hippies tripping on enough LSD and mescaline that said, yeah, pretty far fucking out, because we had come up through these religious homes and seen the hypocrisy that on Sunday, you're there bowing your head, having the tears, giving praise to this God. And then on Sunday night, you're living like the fucking devil itself. Like their Luciferian counterparts, relative few Satanists sincerely worship the devil, though many joke about it. LaVey's interpretation of Satan is a symbol that stands for individualist principles inspired by Friedrich Nietzsche and Ayn Rand. The primary focus are on materialism and carnality. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've learned that materialism is like wearing a weighted vest. It weighs you down. And carnality, well, eventually the body begins to melt like melted cheese. And, you find out that you're not going to look the same at 90 as you did at 19. Just saying. Effectively, Satanism is in favor of the more hedonistic methods of self-fulfillment. The practice of magic is highly variable depending on individual adherents and groups. Some find it to be nothing but psychodrama, while others believe that it's a crucial element of liberation and subversion. Satanists value disrupting the status quo and traps of prevailing schools of thought, and the practice of magic is taboo in and of itself. Those who practice outside of LaVey Satanism are more likely to believe in magic. And I'll say this. You need the shit disturbers. You need the radicals that, tell the establishment, fuck you. I look at today, the way that's running our government. I don't know who's running our government, but I still got that hippie in me saying, you need to be held accountable, you son of a bitch. You lie. That was my whole thing, you know. Now, granted, I grew up with people that were 4 to 6 years older than I was, but hey, I just got an advanced course on things. Um, it says, while some sects of Satanism do not care for the antagonistically related themselves to the Abrahamic religion, such as Christianity, many strive to do the opposite of Christian morality, and they center their beliefs on what is taboo within those more traditional belief systems. Here's the thing. They didn't study. I mean, a horny bunch of people were the Jews. They were always screwing. I mean, in fact, most of the Old Testament is about, someone screwing someone else's wife or, I mean, they got some weird shit in there. And if you really studied this, you would go, I don't think so. I can tell you I had more sex at Christian youth camp than I did anywhere else. I grew up with a group of libertarian youths that we regularly had orgies. I mean, yeah, gotta love that Jesus. It says, due to its foundation of left libertarian politics, Satan also tends to have a stronger stance towards real world issues. Backing my point that it seems that the Democrats, and I would say Republicans, are in fact Satanists. Now, they'll tell you, maybe out there, their speeches and what have you, they're strong believers in, the First and Second Amendment and that they serve God and Jesus. You're a goddamn liar. I'll tell you to your face. Quit lying. Your God doesn't like it, doesn't require it, and doesn't demand it. Oh. The Church of Satan believes in the separation of church and state. I agree. The United States needs to take "In God We Trust" off of our money. That is a violation of the Constitution. And if you're going to pray to one God, then Congress should open up that door to all religious and religions. Why doesn't they allow a Luciferian to come in and pray in the Capitol, in the chamber? Why is it only the Christians? That's a temple. A temple wasn't made to no Christian God. I did a whole series on that. We know exactly what that temple was built for and for whom. And marriage, equality, among numerous other causes. Despite these political inclinations, Satanism is not particularly a self-serious religion, as it is characterized by the appreciation of mischief, jokes, tongue-in-cheek humor about their dealings with the devil. The problem is there's a very serious side. Wow, where did the time go? Luciferians and Satans don't always see eye to eye. While there is no will between a Luciferian and a Satanist, neither group appreciates being lumped in with the other, as some of their core beliefs contradict one another. While discussing his Luciferian church's religion, persecution at the hands of the fundamentalist Christians, the Texas community, Bob Mosley clarified that he wouldn't say that we are in conflict with these other groups. We are annoyed by them. I don't like having to answer for their stupid antics. And most Satanists have got their heads so far up their ass, they don't know what they believe. They're undisciplined, uneducated, and they tend to be very, unreliable. Where I've seen Luciferians being very disciplined, very focused. The pointed jab at Satanism is a response to the antics of the newer groups, the Satanic Temple, a progressive and updated version of Leviathan Satanism. This particular sect holds similar beliefs to the Church of Satan, and they choose to express them by disruptive public performance acts, such as two men kissing over the grave of a deceased leader of the Westboro Baptist Church, or a rally in bondage attire and diapers and shock and intimidate pro-life protesters. It's Halloween. I mean, I look at some of this and I go, what the fuck's wrong with you people? You need to smoke a joint and chill out a little bit. Here's some books that you can really read. And it says, in concise terms, Luciferians are often embarrassed by Satanist tendencies to cause a scene. The inward focus of a Luciferian thought clashes with the wilder elements of Satanism, as Luciferians fundamentally dismiss the importance of material things. While Satanists embrace the beast, that is Satan, Luciferians see the figure as an enlightened and fully actualized being. To them, the Satan tendency to focus on the here and now, enjoyment of life, confuses the forest with the trees. The Luciferian doctrine believes that there are more honorable spiritual goals to aspire towards than carnality and fun. Okay, I'll end it there. You gotta love it. So, wrapping up the topic, which I love this topic. So, what is the purpose of CNBC, NBC, ABC, CNN, Fox, MSNBC? It seems like they would be Satanist organizations. I mean, just look at the antics they do. Think about the power that they're doing. They're trying to manipulate minds. And they can't do that when the United States government is the chief producer of propaganda. And no, the United States is not the arbiter of truth. They don't know what the truth is. These so-called news outlets wouldn't know what truth is if it came and took a dump on their face. So if you promote a lie, you promote a deception, then what are you? Just saying. Now we're going to pick up on other topics. I want to get into the subject of quantum consciousness. Wow, that is really. And Robert Scott, I did get a chance to read several of the emails, folks. I'm still getting there, but yeah. So Christianity, Satanism, one and the same. No difference. Now the Luciferians, like I said, if there would be one that I would identify with, it would be that approach. Because it's very much what my life represents. I was talking to my wife and I said, you know, when you look at the library I have in my office here, I mean, holy shit. I mean, it covers the full spectrum, I'll say that. But I am so appreciative of it because I can read the grimoire now and not be afraid, thinking, oh my God, you know, it's knowledge. I know the freaking Bible frontward and backwards. I can tell you in different interpretations and different translations. But the book I enjoyed the best was, you know, the Luciferian Bible I thought was interesting. And again, there's not enough written about Lucifer. He was made up. I get that. But a lot of the bullshit I read about it's just that. It's a warmed over Christianity, Satanism. Because, you know, if Lucifer really ever takes the lead, you know, these other two gods, they're SOL, you know. All right, everybody. I so love y'all. I mean, Dargo Basto to you as well. Leave your comments. I'm sure I'll get a few. But you know, and when on this whole election thing, you know, each of us have to decide what to do. But you know what? I'd say approach Lucifer. It's an egregore. It exists. And say, hey, Lucifer, like to have a moment of time, could it? It's very gracious, always has been with me. Again, even if it's just mental. Well, that's because that's the seven principle. The universe is mental. Like I said, I don't like the Jesus character. I don't like the Father character. I don't know where the Father God came from. I do, but it ain't what they tell you. I don't like this Old Testament prick. That ain't God. Guarantee you that ain't God. And Satan, I don't know what the fuck that problem is there. I mean, it may or may not be, but Lucifer, and I may have this attitude because I absolutely adore Lilith. I mean, that's a gal that I really, really just adore. You know, my wife even knows that. I have a great deal of respect for Lilith. If Jesus can live and exist, why can't Lilith? She was there before him. Hey, Paul Joe. Good to see you. Joyce, hello. The doctor. Hey, Steve, what's up? Uh, I know it really sucks, doesn't it? I'm kind of like you. It's like, holy crap. But there's no way that I'd want to live in a country with someone of the mental decreased capacity of a Camilla Harris. I mean, if she had a resume, it would be one thing. But folks, Steve, this is how you have to look at it, buddy. You're the fucking CEO. You're on the board of directors. Now, who do you want to run the company? That's really what it comes down to. You got one candidate that has no resume, no background. You got the other one that, despite him being an asshole, you can at least say he capitalized on the materialism. And the United States is a business. The federal government is, in essence, a private corporation. Well, most people don't know that. We do, but anyway. All right, I've gone over. This has been fun, fun, fun. Thank all of you. You really, I tell you, I want to say thank you again. I mean, I was really, really, really sick. And the love that all of you have expressed towards me, it's humbling. And you see, I can look at y'all and I can see that the love that this group emanates and emulates, that's who I want to hitch my horse up to. That's a wagon I can pull. And I just appreciate all of you. You're the best. And I don't get to say that often enough, but you are. So hey, you have to be really strong to listen to some of this. I mean, you can't be a weak soul, weak-minded individual because this shit will just blow your fucking mind, right? But this is why I love this group. This is a group of intellectuals. We are spiritual intellectuals. And we have the cognitive ability to separate and divide. I mean, that's unique. It really is. And it's an honor to be with such men and women as yourselves. I just want to say thank you. So, till we meet tomorrow, keep smiling, keep loving, keep speaking that favor. Jackie, thank you. As we said, nothing missing, nothing broken. And hey, YouTube, just exercising free opinion, political speech, religious thought, and philosophy. That's what I do. That's the great thing about philosophers, because YouTube, this is where philosophers meet. And we're not going to follow the narrative. We'll challenge it. We'll even reinterpret it. But that's what we do. And we do it in love, and we do it with respect. So, all right, folks. Rick, appreciate that, brother. Don't bogart that join either, man. Nina says make sure to join her on Hump Day Message over there in Patreon. So the link is there. So thank all of you. Have a great freaking day, man. That's what it's about. And we'll come back tomorrow at the same time and play some more because this is what we do. We like playing.